John wants to know, any tips on how to redish a wheel? My wheel is true but leans to one side when seated in the dropout. Learning how to dish a wheel is a skill that goes hand in hand with wheel truing. But before we get into it, let's make sure everyone is on the same page as to what the term dish really means. Dish is most commonly used to refer to the alignment of the rim with the center of the axle ends on the hub. So a wheel that is out of dish will sit off-center on a properly aligned frame or fork. The term dish is also used to describe asymmetrical spoke angles typically found on multi-speed rear wheels and disc brake compatible front wheels. But the question relates to the first definition of the word, wheel centering. Before you start to redish a wheel, get it true and round. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be good. To move the wheel over to, say, the drive side, all of the spokes on the drive side need to be tightened and/or the spokes on the non-drive side have to be loosened. Checking the tension on the spokes will guide this decision. Usually, it requires a combination of the two. If that's the case, I prefer to loosen the spokes first to make the whole process a little easier. Lubing the base of the spoke nipples with some chain lube or suspension lube before you start will help to protect alloy nipples from scoring and to make the tensioning process easier. Starting at the valve, loosen all of the spokes on the non-drive side a quarter of a turn, then tighten all of the spokes on the drive side a quarter of a turn. Check your dish and continue the process until you get the wheel centered. You can check your work with the dishing tool or just install the wheel in the frame or fork backwards and see where the rim ends up relative to the brake pads. Compare the centering of the rim on the backwards install to the normal install to see if there is any difference. If the rim is in the same position when installed both ways, your rim is properly dished. If the rim still looks off-center in the frame or fork with a properly dished wheel, then you have a frame or fork alignment problem. Once your dish is set, retrue the wheel and make sure your spoke tension is still nice and even, and you are done. If you want your question asked on Ask a Mechanic, presented by Cyclery, send your inquiry to webletters@competitorgroup.com.